Hello, I'm Akash Khanna and it's the tutorial video for the C functions. C function. What is a function? A set of instructions is a function or a set of instructions for doing a specific task. Suppose we have to add two numbers and again we have to perform this task. So we use a function or we made a function for this work. In short, a function is something like hiring a person to do a specific job for you. Programming with a function is a good approach towards programming or it is also known as the modular programming. Now come to types of functions. There are two types of function in the C programming, that is predefined functions and user defined functions. Predefined functions, that is a function which is defined in the C library or in the header file previously. मतलब ये function C की library में पहले से define है. Predefined function. We do not have to give definitions for using these functions. Example printf, scanf, or I am showing a simple example for this. I am using the compiler Dev C++. Here I write printf percentile. As you all know, sqrt is a predefined function. Sqrt is a predefined function in the math.h. In the math.h, it returns, it gives us the square root of any function. Now whenever I just execute it, it gives me the answer 2.00. As the square root of 4 is 2.0, as sqrt is a predefined function, printf is also a predefined function. Here is some important note points. Break. Break is not a function. Some people have myth that break is a function, but function is something which has a pair of parentheses, and a semicolon at the end. Example printf, scanf, sqrt. Or here we can see that printf has a pair of parentheses and in that it has a semicolon. Or example is getchar. Getchar is also a predefined function. How can we know that it is a predefined function? Here we use a pair of parentheses and a semicolon at the end, so it's a function. Break. We just write break and put a semicolon at the end. We do not use parentheses. Break is not a function. It's a myth for some of the students that break is a myth, but break is a function. But break is not a function. Okay. Functions are not the part of C language. Some people think that the person then it, Mr. Oh, then functions are not the part of C language. They are the part of our library. It's important to note that functions are not a part of C language. They are the part of library, only library. I think I advise you to write this point in your notes copy that functions are not the part of C language. They are the part of library. Now come to the track predefined functions. Predefined functions, that is which are defined in C library and we have to use it directly without giving their definitions. Now user defined functions. Now come to the user defined functions. User defined function, that is the functions which are defined by the user. That is, we made our function as per our requirements. Suppose we have to add two numbers, so we made a function of name add or maybe anything which add the two numbers, so it's a user defined function. In this we made the function as per our requirement. In user defined function there are the three points worth remembering: declaring of any function, calling of any function, and definition of any function. Declaring of any function. Function should be declared before it is used in the program, and the syntax is first we have to write its return type. We will discuss later what is return type, the name of the function, and then the parameters. Nothing much. Example int add int int. It's a function name add. Its return type is int. Means that after adding the two numbers it returns us a integer value. Suppose we give value 2 and 3, so it returns 2 plus 3, that is 5. So here this int indicates that it is returning an integer value. Here int is a return type of the function. Every C function returns something. That is, whenever any function is used, after processing it, it returns something. It may be integer value, character, string, or anything. If any function is not returning any value, then we use void. So example, void display. Suppose we have to display any message that learn C program. Here the function doesn't return anything, so we use void. If a function doesn't return anything, then we use the void. Void display this function do not return anything as return type is void. Now name of the function. Name of function is anything except the name of the keywords. As we know the keywords break, go to, int, char, float. These are the keywords. Name of function can be anything but not the keywords. Name of function is preferred to be a verb and it should be in lowercase. Remember, it's not compulsory that it is a verb. It may be a verb or it should be in lowercase. It's a good style of programming to set name a function as in lowercase and the verb. Space or white space simply is not allowed in the name of the function. That is, here this is a name of function, sum of two numbers. It is not a valid name. It is not a valid name for the function because here there is space between the two words. While sum of two numbers is a valid name because here instead of using space we use the underscore, the special symbol underscore. Underscores can be used in the name of the function. Name of function should not start from integers, that is 1 2 3 4 is not a valid name for any function. As I told you in the starting that programming with a function is a good approach, or it is also known as the modular programming. That is, we have to break the whole program into small modules or functions so that the complexity reduces. In the small level, like adding two numbers, a program which adds two numbers without function is more easier than the function, but it's a good approach whenever the complexity increases, whenever the data increases or the work of the any software program increases. Then in that case we should use function. If anybody asks you why we use function, so to reduce complexity we use the function. Now parameters, these parameters, it's an important point. Whenever any function is called, some of the arguments or parameters may be passed. We will discuss it later when I told you the types of functions. Now some points worth remembering for the functions. Main is the head or father of all the functions. A C program must have only one main function, while other languages such as Java can have more than one main functions, but C program only have one main functions. A C program does not have more than one function of same name. Suppose I made a function display and we give it definition twice, or having two functions of same name is not possible in C language. The execution of any program starts from the main function. Every function must have its return type. The return type of printf is number of character it prints. Now we should go towards the practical. I open the Dev C++ compiler and we should start programming for the functions. As I told you that the function has three parameters. First is definition. First I have to define the name of the function. I made a function for display anything. So syntax for declaring any function is its return type, name of function and its parameter. Return type, name of function and its parameters. So I made void display here. It's the declaring of any function. It's declaration. Here the most common error by the beginners is that they forget this semicolon in the declaration of any function. So you should kept this semicolon in your mind. Then the second point is calling of any function. Any function can be called by only its name and having parenthesis and semicolon at the end. If I have to call the display, so I write its name, that's display, put a put a pair of parentheses and